And I loved this guy. He was a neat guy, man. Had a compassionate heart. Tears were running down his eyes. He said, "Tony Mac, it's real, ain't it?" I said, "I've never felt nothing more real, brother." He said, "I brought you some dope. But you're not going to take it, are you?" I said, "No, sir." He said, "Well, take it and sell it and get you some canteen or something." I said, "I can't do that. I'd be just as wrong as if I did it." "Brother, I can't." I said, "If you really want to give it here, I'll put it in that now silver toilet stool." Amen. Tears still running down his eyes. He said, "Man, I've got to go tell somebody." He went and began to spread the word that Tony Mac had found Jesus. And the tough guys, the hardcore guys that were on the other units, the officers started bringing them to my cell, and through this little beanhole we were grabbing hands, and I was praying for their mamas, for their children. Some of them had mamas that were dying, and they'd come back to me and telling me that, and God healed her. He healed her, Tony. I didn't know how to pray. I just poured my heart out to God. Men were coming to my beanhole, and I was able to lead them to the Lord right there through that beanhole. My cell partner probably could have stayed getting saved. I'd read to him every night from the Bible. But he couldn't stand them 3 showers a week. I come home one day and he'd moved off. Amen. They moved someone in else with me, and I led him to the Lord. A little time passed, and two guys got stabbed severely. One on the unit I was on, and one on the other unit got beaten up real bad and stabbed. We went for a couple of weeks. They had us locked down. No showers, nothing. We wasn't getting out of the cells. And they come down there to take my cell partner to medical, man, and when they did, I put my foot in the door, grabbed my towel, and my little officer says, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm going to take a shower, and you're too little to be in the way." And so he got out of the way, and I went and took a shower and come back, and I said, "God, did I do that without sinning?" He said, "We got some work to do with you." Amen. They brought my cell partner back and told me, "Pruitt wants you." Pruitt was a unit manager down the hall, man, and me and him had a bad past. So I went down there, man, and I get down there in the office, and Mr. Pruitt tells me, he says, "Tony, when I seen your name on the list, you were coming from H Block." He said, "I was going to move you. I wasn't going to let you come to my unit. I was going to send you back. And something happened and you slipped through." How many of y'all know what happened? Amen. He said, "I've been hearing about men coming to your cell, Tony, and being saved. I've been hearing about officers looking through your door and you reading the Bible all hours of the night. I've been hearing about you smiling instead of gritting your teeth." He said, "I want to put you in that job over on 2 Quad. He said, "They've stabbed or hurt everybody we put over there, but," he said, "I think you could straighten it out." I said, "Can my cell partner go?" He said, "Yeah." I get over there and I'm out telling they've messed up now, Charlie. I can tell everyone about Jesus, amen, and I'm feeding them and I'm telling them about the Lord, you know, and that night I was in my cell and I'm thanking God for the job and everything. My wife's coming to visit, smiling. Now she's got lips touching both ears, amen. And I'm thanking the Lord for everything. And he said, "Son, look where you're at." I said, "Yeah, God, you got me a job. You got me over here on this quad. Boy, you're awesome." He said, "Son, look where you're at." And I stopped talking and I looked at the door and I got up and I went to the door and I looked out the door and I looked up at the light. I'm in the exact same cell where 10 years earlier I'd said, "God, show me you're real." And I had the dream. He's such a wonderful God. I remember in a visiting room, I got out of McAllister. I was at another prison, and I had got to lead so many men to the Lord. God would just come out. That agape love. We got news that my uncle had contracted a lung disease and was dying. He made his way to the visiting room. They wouldn't let him bring the oxygen in for flammable reasons and they're dangerous, but they let him come in, and he was so frail and so small. He was an awesome uncle. Me and him were so tight. Nobody had ever been able to minister to him. And I went down there and I seen him, and I wasn't used to seeing him like that. He would always been a big, powerful man. And I opened my mouth and began to speak. His son was with him, and everything that came out of my mouth was Jesus. Everything was just pouring out God's love. He said, Tony, would you pray for me? And I started praying for healing, and in my spirit, God shouted, salvation. And I stopped and I opened my eyes and I said, Uncle Jimmy, do you mean salvation? He said, I want to know the Jesus that changed you, Tony, with everything in my heart. And I grabbed him by the hands. I led him through the sinner's prayer. And we were weeping and we were crying. And when we finished, we were just hugging each other, crying. And Uncle Jimmy said, they're going to think we're sissies. I said, they can't whoop us, Uncle Jimmy. And I looked around, and all these hardcore, tough convicts that were all around us and their families were weeping and crying. He went home to be with the Father 2 months later. He's up there waiting for me. God has used me so many times. Siobhan's dad got saved right here in this church. Just had a short time to live after that. He's up there waiting, sweetheart. He's up there waiting. And God is so good. He's so good. I do the prison ministries now, and I'm never, ever happier than when I'm doing something for God. That's when I come alive. When they open the door and let me in, that's when I come alive. And I'm always afraid I'm going to mess something up. But He'll never let me, amen? And even if I do, He's got a plan B, don't He, Charlie? There was a little boy that had a candle. Had 4 candles. Had them in a room. They burnt brightly. The first candle was peace. Began to flicker and it spoke. It said, you know, nobody fights for me anymore. People let go of me so easily. And it flickered and went out. Next candle was faith. People have stopped reading God's word and building me up. Nobody holds on to me no more, and it flickered and it went out. Next candle was love, and it said, you know, people used to have me. They'd wake up with me. They would hold me and hold me dear, and I would keep them happy, but nobody holds on to me anymore. And it flickered and it went out. And the little boy came into the room and seen them out, and he said, you were supposed to burn forever. You were never supposed to burn out. And the little candle hope spoke. It said, don't cry. As long as you have me, pick me up. Hold me to the others. We'll bring them back to life. Have you lost hope? I don't think so. God's here. He's wanting to meet you where you're at. Whatever needs you have, don't hold back today. Please give God your heart.